Good morning, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center. My name is Nick Humphrey. I'm the spiritual leader here at Unity Spiritual Center of Greater Houston. And we welcome you here to another wonderful morning here in Houston. The weather is starting to break a little bit. During my morning walks this week, it was just a skosh cooler than it has been, not as humid. Today is also the beginning of football season, so after this I'll be attending the Browns' first game, while watching it at least at some place, because it's not televised in Houston. But you all know I am a Browns fan, but I decided not to wear my Browns jersey today out of respect for everybody else. But we welcome you here to Unity Spiritual Center, because here, as Myrtle Fillmore said, we want to help you live the Christ life here and now, which means to live a life of understanding, trust and joy, good activity, freedom from fear and worry, and living and loving contact with your fellows. Even though we can't necessarily do that right now with the COVID, know that we are all together in spirit. And it's that understanding that we grow, because when people understand each other, love increases. That's from Charles Fillmore, from his Christian Healing book. And that's, I feel, a truth, is that when you understand people, when you understand where they're coming from, that love can do nothing but increase. And that's what we hope that you will find here today and every day, that increasing in love. We have a few announcements this morning. First one, Silent Unity. And Unity was founded on prayer. It originally was a group of people that got together at Charles and Myrtle's house, and they started a prayer group. They went to their own churches on Sunday, but on Sunday evening they met, and it was based on prayer, and it still is. So if you're in need of prayer, need somebody to pray with you or for you, please let us know here. Either email myself or email the church and let us know, and get on our prayer list. People have been added throughout this week, I know, because of different things going on in their lives, and we honor that. We honor that you have that belief with us that when prayer happens, we set that energy in motion, nothing but good can come. And so know that we are praying with you and for you at all times. Also, our Wednesday Zoom meeting. We are still meeting on Wednesdays. If you're interested, I will be sending out a new link here, not this week, but next week. Things are changing on Zoom. They have to have a password and that sort of stuff now. But this week, we still have the same link that I've sent out before. And we will, if you need that, please email me or let me know. And we hope to see you at noon on Wednesday for our noon Zoom. So email me, unitynick74@gmail.com. And I'll be sure to send out that most current link to you. We look forward to seeing you there. Also, we're looking for somebody to help with our social media. I've been doing that, and if you've been following us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, you know that it's sort of a lacking. I'm trying to keep up with it, but with everything else that's going on, I need some assistance with that. I would love for somebody to volunteer to help me do that, to help post things on Facebook, on our website. So please, if you're interested, email myself or contact here at the church and let us know. Say, hey, I'd like to help. How can I help? Because we really need some help with that, particularly this time with the social distancing. Those are two things that are outward facing that people can see and contact. So you don't necessarily have to live here in Houston. It could be somebody throughout the United States also. If you're watching us in California or Pennsylvania, or even somebody in England I know watches us occasionally. If you're interested in that and can help us out, please let us know. Email myself or here at the church. And we greatly, greatly appreciate that. So as I said, Unity was founded on prayer. So let's open up this service with some prayer. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Feel that presence of that one power filter into you. Feel it calming your body. Feel it taking away any tension or stress that you may have had already today, or you may have worried about the future. Feel that one power and one presence that we call love, we call God, that we call divine mind, that we call the One. And acknowledge that presence throughout the world. See it in your brother and sister throughout the world. See it in those firefighters and people on the front lines in California, in Oregon, Washington State. See that oneness in our politicians in Austin, in City Hall, and in Washington, D.C. See that oneness and feel that oneness throughout the world. Just feel that love. Amen. Today we have something special. We have Mr. Howie starting us off with our first song.
Please feel free to go ahead and sing out loud as you can while you're out there as we sing this old song, Shower the People. You can play the game and you can act out the part, even though you know it wasn't written for you. But tell me, how can you stand there with your broken heart, ashamed to play in the fool? One thing can lead to the other. It doesn't take any sacrifice. Oh, father and mother and sister and brother, if it feels nice, then don't think twice. Just shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna work out fine if you only will. Do as I say, yeah. Shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. You can run, but you cannot hide. This is widely known. And what you plan to do with your foolish pride when you're all by yourself alone? Once you tell somebody the way that you feel, you can feel it beginning to ease. I think it's true what they say about the squeaky wheel always getting the grease. It's better to shower the people you love with love. Yes, show them the way that you feel. I know that things are gonna be just fine if you only will. What I'd like to do to you is shower the people you love with love. Show them the way that you feel. Things are gonna be much better if you only will. Oh, yeah, shower the people you love with love. Oh, show them the way that you feel. Oh, show them the way that you feel.
Thank you, Howie. I think that, again, fits very well with my talk, as he seems to always do that with his song choices. Now we will turn to our daily word. Our daily word today is fitting. It's love. The affirmation is, I open my heart in love. I express the love I feel in my heart by showing my affection and giving nurturing attention. I speak loving, positive words that let those I care about know how much they mean to me. As my words affirm their goodness, beauty, and intelligence, I watch those qualities bloom like flowers blessed by sunshine. I extend my arms and embrace my family and friends with the warmth and comfort of unconditional love. I support my loved ones with compassion and care on their journey through life. I share my wisdom as I teach, my experience as I advise, and my understanding as I console. I pray for those I love, knowing that the Christ within them is the light that guides them everywhere they go and in everything they do. I am grateful for my role in my loved ones' lives. From 1 John chapter 3, verse 18, it says, Little children, let us love, not by word or speech, but in truth and action. So let's take this thought of opening our heart in love into a time of quiet contemplation and meditation. Close your eyes as you settle into a safe space within that divine mind. Feel as God's presence surrounds you in its comfort, in its joy, in its grace. Feel that spirit within yourself. Feel that spirit within you. Feel that spirit grow, radiate from your heart area. Feel that area grow. Fill your body, pushing out any negative thoughts, negative connotations you may have on this day. Just feel yourself drenched in that oneness, in that love, divine mind. As you do, align your thoughts and your feelings with those of your truth, with those of the truth of the divine within you, that divine place, that divine feeling, affirming your wholeness as your true nature. Affirming the oneness with divine mind and with all as your true nature. Affirming the truth that is you. Feel that connection with God. Feel that connection with the oneness with the divine. Be open to the flow of life divine. In this silence, feel that flow divine. Come back to the room that you are in, acknowledging the chair or floor that you are sitting upon. Choose your happiness. Choose receptivity. Choose to be grateful for all. acknowledge your oneness with God. Feel refreshed, renewed, and rekindled with a zeal to take on that which is yours to do today. And so it is. Amen. So as we move back into the space that we are in, we welcome you. And we welcome and we thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of Unity Spiritual Center. And we're going to move into our time of tithes and offerings and know that we are in that flow of life. We are in that divine flow, knowing that the gifts and the offerings are already upon us. And all we have to do is just see them there, and they are. And so if you'll say with me our blessing of the giving, divine love as me multiplies and multiplies all the good that I am and have, and all the good I give and receive. Thank you, God. The thing's right in front of me and I still can't read it. But we thank you for that, and we thank God for our blessings. And the blessings that you can give to us is on our website. And on our website, you have unityspiritualcenterhouston.org, and at the top, ways to give, and a donate button. And this page will open up. You can set up a one-time gift or a recurring tithe. And either way, we thank you. We thank you for watching. We thank you for being a part of our lives here at Unity Spiritual Center. We miss you and know that soon we will be together physically, even though we are always together spiritually. And we thank you for that. And so as you close out this time of tithes and offerings with our dedication of the tithes, we dedicate these tithes and offerings to the will and work of Spirit for the highest good of all. Thank you, God. And again, we thank you. Excuse me. So today's talk, I'd like to talk to you about enlarging your circle of friends. And talk about friendships we've had, talk about friendships that they grow into us, how we grow into our friendships. And I've been fortunate enough that I have had a friend that we used to play in the playpen together. His name's Eric Barlett. And we used to play together, and his sister is older than us, but used to call us the Sticks because we were both very slim at the time. He is now. Have added a little more weight to mine. But I've had friends throughout my whole life, and they still consider them and call them friends. Friends like Butchie, Jeff, and Chip, my college roommate, Jason, a dear friend of mine named Amy, who I lived with for several years. I have had friends in the Army when I was in the Army that have passed through my life that I was stationed with, and became very close, and then we sort of drifted away. And of course there's family friends that I've made through my family, and then neighborhood friends, and friends in the neighborhood. And of course, there's my church friends and you. Yes, I consider you all my friends. And throughout our lives, we've had friends. We form friends that come and go. And sometimes we form friends just that we need at a particular time. There's some friends that we remember. Some friends that, oh yeah, I remember that person, and they drift out. Are there people in your life that maybe you've been friends with that have drifted in and out of your lives? Think about some of those friends you may have had from childhood. Maybe your best friend in elementary school or middle school or high school. Or think about a friend of yours in college, or if you were in the service, or when you first get out of there and you're living on your own for the first time. Those friends, or maybe the friends that you have now. When you think about them, how does it make you feel? How do those friends make you feel as far as are you happy? Do they make you sad? Are you sort of ambivalent? Oh, I hope they're doing well, but they're not part of my life anymore. But I know you always wish them well. I guess it sort of depends upon how the friendship ended. There's a famous movie called Stand By Me. It's actually written by Stephen King, and it's sort of a thriller kind of thing, but it's about, deep down, I think it's about the friendship and bonds that we have of friends that we have when we're 11 and 12 years old. And at the end of the movie, the writer who is writing about his experiences as an 11 or 12-year-old in this adventure that goes on throughout the film talks about his friends and how they sort of have drifted away. Says sometimes it happens. It happens sometimes. Friends come in and out of your life like busboys in a restaurant. I never had any friends later on like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone? Well, I think I've had some friends since the age of 12, some very close friends. I'm still friends with many of my friends from the age of 12, but I also have grown and acquired new friends as I've grown up. But friendships are based on similarities, on mutual interest. That means we have a shared value with our friends, and we're at similar stages of development. But each of us have a similar level of knowledge and experience around our mutual interests. So I had friends that were on swim team. I had friends that liked the Grateful Dead with me. I had friends that were Cleveland Browns fans. I had many friends that were Pittsburgh Steelers fans too. We won't get into that. But I've never heard anyone say, I wish I had less or fewer meaningful relationships or friends. I think each one of us longs to be more connected, more deeply with friends, especially these days. I know that these days it can be hard and difficult to be connected with friends. But as it says in Little Women, Anne of Green Gables, the writer writes, true friends are always together in spirit. And I truly believe that we are always together in spirit. Don't you? I think Facebook has been amazing in reconnecting friends and reconnecting those people that I've passed in and out of my life, and here on Facebook I can connect again with them. And I tell my mom, hey, I found so-and-so. Oh, I remember them, yeah. But it's also changed our friendships. I learned at an early age what friendship was. I remember at West Branch, the little hippie school I would go to, watching Charlotte's Web. And in Charlotte's Web, there's a line there that Charlotte has made this beautiful web for the pig, Wilbur. And Wilbur asks, why did you do this for me, he asked. I don't deserve it. I've never done anything for you. And Charlotte answers him and says, you have been a friend. That in itself is a tremendous thing. Being a friend is a tremendous thing. In Proverbs, Solomon talks many times about making and dealing with friends with his son. And in Proverbs 17, chapter 17, verse 17, it says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for time of adversity. What do friends do for us? What do friends do for you? Well, I think that they assist us in our time of need. They encourage us. They help us lift our spirits and provide a community that we need when we are down. And they also sharpen us. I had a friend on swim team when I was in high school that we were very competitive with each other. We were best of friends, but we were always edging each other on to do better in our certain events. And I honor that friend and love that friend for doing that for me, and I hope that he does the same with me. It's pushing each other. It's making that iron sharpen iron, steel iron sharpen steel. They make us better people, our friends do. In Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 through 12, it says, two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other one up. But pity anyone who falls that has no one to help them up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of three stands not as quickly broken. Friends comfort us. They have provided the comfort, they provide the safety and companionship. And you become like your friends. You really do. You become like your friends. I know there are people out there, friends of mine, who after they meet somebody, maybe you had the same experience where you meet somebody who has a different accent than you. Maybe they're from India or from Germany or from some other country, and they speak with a slightly different accent. And you start picking up that accent. You start picking up that accent of your friend to be like them. But back to that verse in Proverbs, though, chapter 17, verse 17. A friend loves at all times. But how about a friend who isn't very loving to you? It's not easy to be a friend at that time. Or when somebody you've never seen before, a stranger, comes up to you, do you automatically love that person? Or do you say inside yourself, I don't want to make eye contact with them, I'm just going to pass them by. I'm feeling a great deal of apprehension inside of me. Maybe somebody on the side of the road that's begging for change. Everyone here has felt that same connection, that same feeling in different times and places in your life, I'm sure. But we have to overcome it. As a child, you were told never to talk to strangers. And that may have had its place back then in that time. But here we have a mission. And that mission is to be a friend and love at all times. One of my favorite quotes, and I know I've used it 1,000 times, I'll probably use it 1,000 times more, and if you can think of a different one that conveys the same thing, please let me know, because I would love to use a different quote, but I think it really gets to the heart of the matter, and that's the quote from Ram Dass's Guru that says, love everyone and tell the truth. I'll give you an example of that from the Bible. When Judas came in to betray Jesus and point him out in the garden, he walked up to him, and Jesus didn't try to avoid him, didn't, say something, oh, you're a bad person or anything like that. No, Jesus said, welcome, friend. Welcome. When I grew up in Pennsylvania, one of the big things to do was go deer hunting. Before deer season started, which started the Monday after Thanksgiving, I remember it because we always got that day off of school, believe it or not, but people would go out in October and November and go spotlighting. What that is driving in a Jeep or a truck with a big spotlight and look to see where the deer are. But deer always, when they're spotlighted, they freeze. They try to blend into their background. And they freeze. They just freeze and stand there. Now, they weren't shooting the people out of the truck, I hope, because that's illegal, but spotlighting and finding out where they are. But the deer would freeze so they could mark it and see how many antlers it had, if it was a buck, that sort of stuff. But that's often our first defense, too, when somebody comes up to us. We freeze in that moment, that split second of, do I look at this person in the eye and smile, or do I just look down and walk on by? But if we're going to freeze, we should take that time to use it spiritually. We should go to that divine within us and breathe. Rediscover why we are there. We're there because we're not alone. Know that we are empowered to do what we know we need to do. But we often freeze. We freeze when we're not grounded in the power and the love of God. We freeze by grounding ourselves in the fear of the unknown, the fear of, if I offer a friendship to this person, are they going to do something bad to me back? I feel at moments like this when we're going into a spiritual spot instead of a fearful spot when meeting somebody, we need to listen to what Jesus said in Matthew. Let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works. Remembering to choose love. Saying to yourself, I'm going to reach outside of the limitations of myself. The Bible says perfect love casts out fear. Perfect love also casts out chaos. I wonder what would happen in our lives if we would speak to that person, if we would stop the fear and have faith in ourselves. I think it'd be quite different. You'd make eye contact and smile and end the loneliness. All spiritual growth depends on a choice. The most important choice we'll ever make is to love rather than to be afraid. We're often spending our lives relating to machines more than to humans. We relate to the television set or to the computer. But we have to establish that contact with other humans we don't know yet. All the Zoom meetings, all the Google town hall meetings that we attend on our computer is great. But it's seeing that one-on-one contact, that one-on-one being in the same room, feeling the energy. We take time to be friends with more people, we're not going to lose anything, but we are going to gain. As we walk down life's path, old messages may appear like an old broken radio that tell us, no, you have to be fearful of these people. You don't speak to strangers. That's crazy. If you take the time to be a nice person and smile and say a kind word, you're not going to lose anything. But if you give away love and friendship, it's the one thing you will never lose. You will have a new interconnectedness with everyone. You're no longer going to be walking alone. You're going to have God as your foundation and people on your side. Nothing is lost when everything is given away is a quote by John Cage. And it's not talking about giving away your possessions. No, that'd be crazy. No, we're not talking about giving away your possessions. We're talking about giving away your love, giving away your friendship, giving away your energy, because that is the only thing that you have that no matter how much you give out, you still have more. It's said that there's a common occurrence when people are greeting other people and they may offer them a hug. Excuse me. And that person starts to cry in your arms, saying that that's the first time that I've been hugged since I was a little kid. That's the first human contact I've had. That's the first smile somebody's given me. We're forgetting what we've learned as children. We need to touch more and smile more and have eye contact more and be good to each other. As Jesus said, we need to become like little children. We often criticize too often, criticize ourselves and others, and don't uplift enough. We need to constantly look for the good in others, mention that good, and then help bring it out. We need to let the person know how special they are. It will change a life, but first it will also change your life. It will create a wonderful power in both of you that will change our individual worlds. In a relationship, we are relating ship. If we want our lives to be richer, to fuller, and happier, there is an answer. If we want our businesses to be more successful, there's an answer, and the answer is networking, widening our circle of those we know and associate with. We tend to keep a close circle of people we know and interact with. We do this because it feels safer that way, but it's time to stretch out beyond our self-made perimeters. As I was doing research on this talk, I came across a story that somebody tells. And this story is somebody that may be very near and dear to many of you here at Unity Spiritual Center. This person used to be a minister here before I joined. She has since transitioned from this plane into another, and she tells a story of the need to stretch beyond your self-made perimeter. It's a story that Reverend Shea St. John told. So if you will, just as I tell the story, maybe you could close your eyes and picture her telling it, that friendship that you had with her if you knew her. Which tree is the strongest? The weeping willow, Georgia pine, or the mighty redwood of California? Imagine you have all three of these trees in a line in a big field. The wind is blowing fiercely, just this fierce wind. Hurricane-force winds are blowing through this field and it's bending the trees to the ground. Now the weeping willow, well, it's going to fall first because it has the roots are not very deep into the ground. Think about your roots, how they're rooted in the oneness, how they're rooted in the divine mind. If you are like the weeping willow, I hope your roots are stronger and deeper than that of the weeping willow. I hope they're like those of the Georgia pine. The Georgia pine is a strong tree. It has roots that grow deep within the earth, and it can withstand and withhold any wind force that comes along its ways. If you have those deep roots within that presence, and you're alone, you should be able to survive any windstorm that comes along in your life. And let me tell you about those redwoods. Those mighty redwoods of California that grow so tall that they look like they could touch the stars. They actually have tunnels carved into them and roads going through the center of them. They're so big you can't put your arm around them. But if you were to take a shovel, those roots are very they are not deep at all. They're right there on the top of the thing. But how can these mighty redwoods survive for years and years of storms coming in off the Pacific coast? It's because they intertwine their roots together. Almost like the trees are holding hands together to beat and overcome any of those windstorms that come in. They keep each other up. And it's because of that resilience that they have that your children's children are still going to be able to see them and look upon them. We can't allow one person to fall from the path because they haven't received our hand. We have to give our hand to them and hold them up. When they're down, our hand is there to hold them. When we need a loving hand to help us, it's all right to ask for help. It's often the human experience for us to go through different trials, and we remain standing if we are spiritually friends with many. If we hold hands together, just like those mighty redwoods do. If we're willing to hold out our hand, there's going to be someone who is high on the mountain who will reach down and help us. We must be willing to accept that friendship as well as give friendship. Life is too short to be small, and so is our circle of friends. We must become a large, loving circle of friends. As you give away your love and friendship, it is the one thing, like I said, that you can never lose. You'll have a new interconnectedness with everyone. You're no longer going to be walking alone. You're going to be walking with God as your foundation and people by your side. People who share that common friendship with you, and they can get there going quicker and easier by traveling with other people. Another story from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where I grew up. We had the West Branch of Susquehanna goes north to south, and we would often see the Canadian geese flying, using that as their navigation. And we'd have these huge V-shaped formations of these Canadian geese. And believe it or not, they may be, people may think, oh, they're just dumb birds, but they're actually very smart in the way that they interconnect. And I think it shows us as humans ways to interconnect with our friends. And so if you think and follow me through this little thing that I have, I think that the Canadian geese will teach us about friendship. When a goose falls out of formation, gets tired of falls out of formation, he immediately feels that resistance of that wind to it. And he quickly gets back into formation. Just as we do that, if we feel that we are losing something, we find somebody to help us get back into the flow of life, just as that bird does back into that flow, that formation. But when you get tired, when the goose gets tired at the top, at the point of the V formation, it will peel off and fall to the back, and the next one will take its place, just as we do. Just as if you're tired, somebody can help you, can assist you in those times of need that you may have, whether you're down about finances or down because you're missing friends. They can help you get back into the formation, get back into that lead of the formation. And we'd often hear them honking at each other. We thought that they were angry at each other, telling them to go faster. Actually, what they were doing was encouraging each other, encouraging the head goose to keep going, to keep flying, just as people do to us, to encourage us to keep going, encouraging your friends to keep going, and friends encouraging you to keep going. One of the best ones is when a goose would get sick or maybe shot by a hunter. Two would fall with it and stay with it until it either could get back or it was dead. And then they would fly and either get back into the formation, or they would wait until another formation gets back and comes with them. And just like that, we too, when we are down, we need to remember that united we are stronger. United we stand, and divided we fall. We make the choice in this moment to spiritually stand with each other in love. You are here on the earth for a wider purpose than your present friends and family. You are here for all of humanity. I saw a meme that said, just think, in all the time and all the world, They decided right now is when you should be alive and on this earth. Truly, each of us is on our chosen spiritual path. We are kind and loving wherever we find ourselves, and we are spiritually rising in this moment. Rising in this moment when we turn to God and say, okay, God, I am willing. I'm willing to share my love and my friendship and my truth with others. Are you willing? I know that I am. So let's join our V formation together and soar through this life together. Thank you, friends. Amen. So now we'll close in our usual fashion. We will sing our peace song and our prayer for protection.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as Creator. Family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yea, God!